Wow, who are you? I'm an open world fashion game made by the developers called Paper Games, based in China. Take it. Also have gambling and a lot of cool outfits that you can pay for that aren't in the main game. How much you need? Just take all my money. Hello losers, I've been playing a lot of Infinity Nikki lately and my bank account is crying. I'm just kidding, I'm kidding, I never actually paid any money for this game because you can actually get like a surprisingly good amount of stuff from this game without paying money, which is really nice, but they still have options where you can pay money for it, and it's not like there's a difference in quality. Like look, this is the free stuff, this is the paid for stuff. They're the same quality, right? I feel like because of my ungodly amount of hours in this game that I should probably be qualified enough to speak on my opinion about this. I'm gonna be just like honest with you guys. This game is definitely not for everyone. One of the major complaints that I see about this is that people are like, oh my god, it's all about the clothes. I think that's the point. I think the whole purpose of the game is for it to be like a dress-up fashion game, but make it actually interesting and meant for adults. Because I once heard this one person say that all games that people say are targeted towards women, is it targeted towards women or is it targeted towards children? But yeah, definitely not a lot of people are gonna like this game, especially for those who have a fragile masculinity, but it's still a pretty fun game to play. There's like some weird like sandbox style mini games, there's like, it's an open world kind of, like they definitely plan on extending it. There's like this whole lore to it about there being like other kingdoms and stuff, so I'm sure that they plan on making this game last for like a long time. The game is still new, and yet they've had at least like 3 events already, and presently there's like, for the first time ever, like multiple events layered on top of each other. It's like if Hoyoverse was not all about just fighting. You can tell that the game Infinity Nikki is definitely made for not sexualizing the characters. Like there's a sexy category for the clothes, but I wouldn't say that it's like very showy with skin, you know? Maybe it's because it's a Chinese company, or maybe it's because they really like women. I'm pretty sure that more than 50% of the staff of the development team is women. Games do not have gender, but you can tell that they're definitely, most games are in favor of having a more like masculine like fan base. Especially I've noticed that a lot of women don't feel welcomed in a lot of video game like communities, especially shooter games. I've also noticed that Infinity Nikki has a similar feature that you see in some of the Hoyoverse games. Like I used to play Zenless, right? And in Zenless there's this feature where you can take like selfies and photos of the environment, right? They have something similar in Infinity Nikki, but as a photographer, oh my god, it is so cool. There's some people who take the photography in Infinity Nikki so seriously. Like there are some people who do like the coolest stuff and then they'll post it in like the Infinity Nikki community server, and then you'll look at it and it's like, this looks like a professional photography piece, okay? Maybe I'm a nerd, but like if you're subscribed to my channel, you obviously are a nerd too, okay? I'm not usually the type to only talk about one specific game, but also I just so happen to have been working on a Infinity Nikki cosplay that I may or may not show at the end of this video. For those of us who don't have a fragile masculinity, the game is actually pretty fun, and I'm pretty sure that over time there will be like a progression with the game becoming harder. As you go and progress along the main story, there will be like these boss segments. Infinity Nikki isn't the only Nikki game, and it's a whole franchise of Nikki games. I haven't played them personally myself, but there are some die-hard Nikki fans that say that they are like the best games ever, or like life-changing. I don't know if this is a spoiler. If you don't want to hear this, just skip to this time, but I'm going to be talking about some lore, okay? Nikki is sort of kind of cursed to always have a tragic end. Like, there's always a tragic twist to the stories of the Nikki franchise. And so it's like this cute fluffy game with like the cute fluffy aesthetic just for it to like be sad. Some of these are gonna be some spoilers, so be warned. When my experience playing Nikki, it kind of borderline talks about human trafficking. It talks about like some darker topics like discrimination. Like it's kind of crazy when you actually think about it. And so everyone looks at like the branding and the marketing for the Nikki games being all like cute and feminine and like the dress up stuff, because yeah, that's their main like target, that's their main audience. But that doesn't mean that the story isn't good. And I feel like most people, when they first start playing Nikki, they judge it too quickly. And most of the people who have complaints for Nikki are, you know, insecure dudes. I feel like Nikki is the type of game that anyone can get into, especially if you like Hoyoverse games, but they all have like the gambling, they all have like the different like characters you can get, except for Nikki, it's outfits. Like, you can make Nikki look completely different. As a cosplayer, one thing that I really love about the Nikki games is that you can see the textures of the fabrics. Like, it's so good quality that if you zoom in, you can tell what kind of fabric it is. If I had to do a cosplay, one cosplay that I really want to do is this outfit. It's not really a spoiler because you see it right at the beginning. It's like part of the whole like intro cutscene. My one complaint is that over time it gets really hard to get like the crystals or like the resonance stuff for the gambling, but that's mostly because I've maxed out the main story, and so it kind of feels like I'm just scrounging for it. But when you're doing the main story, you do get a good chunk. Like, it's fairly easy as long as there's main story to follow. The development team are actually very generous with giving out the resonance for free. You don't have a reason to really complain. There's always like side stories that are being put out, especially with the like seasonal events that come up. But one thing that I really would critique is that I wish for those people who are, you know, maxing out the stories and everything, when there's like this weird period where they're just waiting and then they have nothing to do, it'd be really cool if there was like a way you can get like crystals. There's temporary resonance and then there's permanent resonance. That's where you gamble. And so temporary resonance is always seasonal. Let me just flex about my cosplay, please. I feel like I'll have never another opportunity to flex about it, especially since, you know, I don't really have a lot of people following me on Instagram. So please let me flex. Please, 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 please. Thank you for watching. I am a tree. I suck at outros.